Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today's video is yet another update on the Chad and Lori Daybell cases. For those of you who don't know the details or the background of this case, please feel free to watch the previous videos I've made on this topic. Of course, in addition to the other videos that are available online to inform yourself and get yourself up to speed. The first video I released on this topic was about a phone call that took place between Lori and Chad on the 9th of June of this year, 2020. Lori was already in jail at that time, and the FBI were on Chad's property searching for Tylee and JJ. If you haven't already watched that video, please do. It will be linked in the description box below. The purpose of that video was to highlight how defendants can easily turn against each other. Now, I made it very clear in that video that I do not believe that Lori is innocent in any capacity. And I was only playing devil's advocate, being a lawyer myself, when talking about how this phone call could potentially be used by her defense to claim that Chad was the mastermind and Lori was simply following orders and didn't even know the details of what was going on. It was just a possible theoretical defense that could be used, not my personal beliefs. I'm saying this because unfortunately in the comments section, a few people decided to ignore that fact and attacked me and accused me of not knowing what I'm talking about and being an awful lawyer because how could I not see that Lori was clearly guilty? She is guilty and I never said anything that contradicts that belief. But attorneys are trained to play devil's advocate, and that means keeping an open mind, thinking of all the possible arguments that the opposing side could come up with. So again, I want to repeat that I don't believe that either Chad or Lori are innocent. They are both culpable in my eyes, and I'm sure in the eyes of everyone out there. And now this update only serves to support my theories in my first video, which is that these two are probably going to turn against each other. Prosecutors in Idaho want to combine both Chad and Lori's cases and try them together. In the law, this is known as joinder of cases. Now, this takes place when the defendants are co-defendants, so they worked together in furtherance of the crimes that they have been charged with, which is exactly what is happening in this case. These two have been charged with identical allegations of working together to dispose of Lori's children. The judicial system is centered on administering justice as efficiently, effectively, and fairly as possible. And efficiency is a very important aspect of the court's objectives. And so whenever possible, in order to preserve limited government resources and time and money, prosecutors attempt to try co-defendants together. And this makes absolute sense, especially when the facts are identical, the evidence against them is the same evidence, the witnesses are the same, and the victims are the same. And Chad and Lori's case ticks all these boxes. Now, as it turns out, Chad is fighting this joinder application that was made by the prosecution. John Pryor, Chad's attorney, filed an objection to this motion, stating that it would be unfair to his client to have the trials together. He further states that local and national media coverage would be enhanced, which would hurt his client's right to a fair trial. Now, it's interesting to note that Lori is not opposing this joinder. She prefers it that way. She wants to be next to her husband during the trial. So the reason that defendants fight against joinder is because they want to blame everything on the other defendant. And that is a lot easier to do when the co-defendant is not present at the trial. Picture Lori sitting next to Chad as his dutiful, obedient, meek, and soft-spoken wife. It would be a lot more difficult for Chad's defense to point the finger at her and blame everything on her if she's sitting right there for the jury to observe the entire time. It's also easier to turn against someone when they're not there. It would be much more effective if she wasn't there so that the jury wouldn't have her right in their line of vision when all of these accusations are being thrown her way. So I'm not surprised that Chad is fighting this and Lori is not, because this is how it reads to me. Lori wants to come across to the jury as the quiet, obedient, and respectful wife that just does as her husband says or does as her lover says because they weren't really married when the kids went missing. By placing her next to Chad, who is a lot larger in stature and who is a man, and we all know how in society we are still stuck in those preconceived notions of men being the aggressive ones and men being the breadwinners and the puppeteers, and that women are gentle angels that can do no wrong. That image will be right there for the jury to see with their own eyes. And it does have the potential to significantly favor Lori and significantly disadvantage Chad, because the children were ultimately found on his property. Chad, on the other hand, doesn't want that polar opposite visual to be there in front of the jury, because Lori's vulnerability and small stature and femininity will automatically enhance all the aspects that Chad doesn't want the jury to see in him. By removing Lori from the picture, that polar opposite visual won't be there. And so Chad's largeness and his gender will suddenly be diminished in the eyes of the jury. They will just see him as a human, as a person, rather than the male or the husband or the ringleader. And in Lori's case, that's going to play against her, because rather than seeing her as the obedient, much smaller, much quieter female wife, they're going to see her as Lori the person. Now, Chad is well within his rights to fight this motion for joinder, but whether the court will accept it will depend on the arguments presented by the prosecution and the arguments presented by Chad's defense, and they will be weighed before an ultimate decision is made. I think purely in terms of efficiency, it makes absolute sense to combine the two and try them together. From a defense point of view, again, it makes absolute sense for Chad to be fighting this joinder, purely because it's not really going to help his case in any way. And if it will have any impact, it will most likely be an adverse one. We live in a world where people have preconceived notions about men and women and their roles in society. Men have always been viewed, especially in the legal system, as the abusers, the perpetrators, not the victims. Whereas women, unfortunately, because this is not right, have always been either viewed as a victim or as individuals who are harmless or mean no harm. As far as I'm aware, at this point late in September, a hearing date for determining whether the cases should be joined has not been set yet, but it will be very interesting to see what ends up happening. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm not a judge, and I've never been personally involved in any case where co-defendants were involved. But if the decision were up to me, I would definitely go for joinder myself. So the question is, what do you think should happen? Are you pro joinder of trials, or do you think that that would diminish the defendant's right to a fair trial and that they should both be tried separately? Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in a future video.